So the question I want to know, Sylvia, is how many fights have you been in since we're talking about David and Goliath? Yeah. And I'm not talking like you and Jake had a spat. I'm talking like you were on the volleyball court and you were like, bring it.
Guy. No.
Yeah, right?
It was me. No, I'm just kidding.
Do you get in a lot of fights as a kid?
Like getting lots of fights?
Yeah.
Only with my sisters.
Oh,
my
yeah?
dad was the, like, don't, like, if you're going to fight, we'll just do it the right way. It has to be clean. My dad was a wrestler. So
well, he's got some boxing stuff. He was a corner man.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he would do that. Or like, we wouldn't, he'd let us put on gloves sometimes, too.
That's
we
awesome.
never really got into it or anything.
Yeah.
But as an older sister, it was nice because I'm like, yeah, let's go. Like,
Bring it, Lorna.
Ready. I'm ready.
Let's go.
Not Lorna, Sophie.
Come get some Sophie. Yeah.
Me and Sophie were the closest in age, and then Lorna and Bella, they were two batches.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we
two
weren't,
batches.
yeah, we weren't concerned.
Mom and dad had two batches.
I was more like a second mom, to them, like a helper.
Yeah.
I definitely mess with them still, but like not,
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Welcome to Northpointe Plus.
Yeah, right? Moving on. Jake, how many fights have you been in your life? Do you want to talk about?
Yeah.
I think people know you're probably a little bit of a troublemaker in school. A little bit is kind of being generous, too. So, but never fights. I think that you are more of a word fight kind of guy.
A word fight kind of guy. So I'll put it this way. If you want a story, I'll give you a story.
Yeah.
My freshman year of high school, I was on the junior varsity basketball team, and you'd stick around and watch the varsity games, and you have your student section. We were the Eagles, and so our student section was called the Nasty Nest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, all right. Yep. Like nastiness is kind of how it all ran together, right? And there was a guy, really good friend of mine, offensive lineman, big dude, defensive lineman, just this guy. He's 4 times my size. Like, his name is Toddy. He was great. We were really good friends. And so what I learned my freshman year is it is okay to talk trash as long as Toddy is behind me.
Oh, okay.
So like all the time, everywhere we went, because we hung out all the time, I was the mouth, he was the muscle all the times. And then when he got tired of it, he'd just kind of walk away. And I was like, oh, Toddy, where are you going a second here, man? Hold on there, buddy. Bring it on back. I was writing checks I can't cash.
It's like those videos of dogs that are fighting through the fence and they take the fence away and the dog
little dog runs.
Fighting.
Yeah, that was me. As long as I had my Toddy, I was good. If I didn't have my Toddy, we had to pull it back some. So yeah, I may have taken a few when Toddy wasn't around.
Sunday morning. Why didn't you open with that one?
Yeah, no, we talked about camping.
That was good too. That was good. So why don't you give a little recap of Sunday morning, second sermon, I guess, in the
David series. Yeah, so probably one of, if not the most known story in the Bible in some ways when you think about it, because everybody has the cultural idiom of talking about David and Goliath and this underdog story, and that's what we're diving into a little bit, hopefully giving a little more background and a little more honest color to the story, because I think all of us have a working knowledge, but there's some really cool details about that. And ultimately, it's to the point where what separated David out was his faith and recognizing that the battle was God's. And because God went into the valley and was able to do his thing, David's able to do his thing, similar like how God steps in for us with Jesus. And because of Jesus, we're able to go in and we're able to take on our giants as well. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of the idea.
Yeah, I we kept saying, because, I appreciated how at one point you kind of said, like, this isn't the story version. This isn't the, like...
I just spilled a ton of coffee all over me right there.
Here,
if you're
I'll
watching.
switch it to meme, and then you can just fix yourself while I talk. No, but I appreciate that you said that this isn't the, like, the children's Bible version of David and Goliath. Like, we kind of got into some of the more gory details.
Yeah.
There were some boys in the audience that were kind of like...
It was Father's Day.
No, I know. It worked out well, but... because I think that, like, I grew up in church and learning all these stories, and there's some things that it's kind of like, oh, like that's just, that's interesting. So that was,
it's kind of like when we talk about, like Noah and the flood.
Yep.
We talk about the animals, but we don't talk about the worldwide death.
Yeah.
That would have occurred at that point in time. Like, look at the pretty
part.
Polar bears getting on the big boat, kids.
Yeah.
Ignore the screaming people in the background, right? Like, it's, we got to read the whole Bible.
Yeah. So we kept saying that David was young.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, teenager, he would have been probably no older than 17. 17. Because he's not a fighting age. which is why he's not there yet. So he would have had to be like, oh gosh, I'm trying to remember exactly what it is, like near 19, 2021 in that area.
Because I was trying to picture like a 17-year-old in my head.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, dang.
Yeah. So think of like, your teenage nephew going up against a much larger, angrier, and aggressive Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Wait, so how big was Goliath actually?
9'9", just under 10 feet.
Because, in movies or something, they make him look like.
Yeah. I mean, he was still a mountain of a man.
Yeah. Well, because not only was he like tall, but he was built.
He was built. I mean, he's a warrior since his youth.
Right.
So like he's pure muscle. He's, everything that you would think. I mean, enough so that he's standing in the valley and the army is against the mountainside, so a healthy distance away, and they're intimidated.
Yeah.
So like they recognize that's a dude right there.
that is a dude.
Yeah. I don't want to go mano a mano. They have all the stuff, the challenges right now. Could you take on 100 men versus a gorilla or whatever? Yeah, it'd be like 100 men versus Goliath kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess to me it was just funny because as we were talking about that, and I don't know if it was the way you were reading it. So tell me if you did this on purpose.
Uh-oh.
But it was getting me hyped up when David.
Oh yeah, that was the goal. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, where I was like, heck yeah, like I am feeling this, and it was funny because it seems like it's kind of like he's speaking like a man, but it's almost like with childlike faith.
Oh, for sure.
So I was like, that is such a cool contrast of, like, he's like, no, I'm about to, like, what do you mean we can't take care of this? Like, and that he's talking about our God like that.
Yeah.
And like, why aren't we?
Because of God, your dead will be strung from city to city, and I'm cutting your head off, big man. Like, man, I'd have needed like 7 toddies behind me to be able to be that brash. Like, what?
So correct me or just hear me out on this. I'm thinking a 17-year-old boy, I'm definitely like the brother. Like, you're like, because I'm like, you're 17, you know nothing.
Right.
Like, and we were kind of talking about like, well, he's been in the field, like we have,
And this as the brother, as the oldest brother, keep in mind David's like the youngest.
Yes.
And he's got, 6 brothers between him? Mm-hmm. So this isn't like the older brother's like 25 to 17. No, this is like a full-grown man with a family who's coming out to do this world with life experience behind him. And then the teenage kid is the one who's like, oh, okay, teenager, like... Yeah. Okay. Harpist who plays with sheep in the field. Like you have no life experience to be coming here and telling me, okay, don't go fight this. Why aren't you fighting this war? Come on, dude. You don't know. You've never been in a battle before.
And just like I said, I'm an oldest sister, and I have definitely had some moments where I'm like, y'all don't know what you're talking about. Okay, like you don't know. And so like that really, where I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I would be the older brother, and then to be like scared for them, to be like, you're really gonna go out and like yeah. So I don't know. There's a part of me too that just if I saw something like this happen today where somebody had that faith, because I don't know, it's different, but I would be scared. I'd be like, do you really, like, are you sure? Like, and it just, you're kind of
it's easy when we know the end of the story.
Yes.
It's very easy when we know the end of the story.
Because if that happened now, today, in this moment, I'd be like, whoa. Let's reel it in there. Like,
no military background.
But
he's a shepherd. He was there to deliver food. He's got no military background.
Yeah.
He's not been in the trenches with him. He's not been in the training with him. He doesn't know anybody there besides his brothers. And all of a sudden, he's going to show up and he's going to take on, like, this tank that they got sitting over there that, like, we know we can't beat. Like, all of these guys didn't go in there because they knew they would lose.
Yep.
They knew they would lose, and so they're just kind of waiting it out to see, all right, are we going to change strategies? What's going to happen? And Saul's crippled in fear, and David's the one who shows up, and he's like, no, we got this.
Yeah, and I like how you tied that into saying, like, it's the people who are closest to you. Because I've had that in my own life where, like, I felt so strongly about something, and people have been, even, like, going to Kenya, like, going on the Kenya trip, and I felt like, no, God's telling me to go. And I was even nervous at first, but I'm like, no, I'm going to be obedient, but I'm nervous.
Yeah.
And like, I was hating it at some times, like just dreading the months coming up to it. Cause I'm like, oh gosh, like I'm still nervous. I don't want to. And when you have people in your family and like tell you like, just don't, like, you just probably shouldn't go. It's like unsafe. And I'm like, and it was funny because maybe I was just stubborn, because after that I'm like, well, I've been there. I've been there. Like I'm going to go. But it is hard when you're really trying to do something and you have the people you love the most closest to you.
Think about those people like in David's, Eliab had watched David grow up. right? So he's seen all of his highs and lows.
Yeah.
He knows some of the dumb stuff David's probably
Right.
done or whatever. And he's like, dude, there's just no way. There's just no way, man. I know everything about you. Like Saul, yeah, you played the harp for him, but he doesn't even really remember that.
Right.
But like, man, dude, I know you, and I know this isn't right for you. And the reality is he probably isn't wrong, because if you take God out of the equation, David's dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's just the truth of it. So on the surface, that is absolutely true. But if God's behind it and David's being obedient to what God wants, well, then you're slaying giants.
Right.
And I think that's the difference that Eliab couldn't see in that moment was this isn't just David. You're looking at David just like you're looking at Goliath, but you're not looking and seeing the world through God's eyes. And David, who's anointed as the next leader, does. He's seeing the world differently now at this point in time.
Yeah, and something I think you said David is unimpressed with Goliath and like kind of like offended for God.
Yeah,
like, how dare
yeah.
we let this happen? And then another thing you said too is like that God sees your faithfulness. And so I guess maybe a question would be like for people who feel like they're being faithful and like maybe things aren't turning out how they thought they would, but they're doing it, trying to do things for the glory of God. Like what would you say to encourage them?
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes all the way back to David and him fighting off lions and bears and tending sheep in the pasture and like all of those kinds of stuff. All of those moments are prep moments, right? Like there's these pieces where we think like we're this ready to go package at any point in time, but God knows better. And he's like, no, I got to smooth some edges here. I got to sharpen some places over here in your life. I got to do this or that. So behind the scenes, God is working in our life. He's doing things big and small to prepare us for moments that he wants us to be able to do stuff. We're not this completed package walking through life, ready to go and take on everything the world has to offer for us. We're just not. And so there's times I think God is equipping us and he's making us stronger and he's allowing us to gain experience and wisdom throughout the way to be better equipped for what he has down the road.
Yep.
And both times the key to that is still going to be God is going to be with us every step of the road. So whether it's, as we talked about, just doing the mundane things in life and it feels like you're not making a difference, you feel like you're unseen. No, God's working in that still.
Yeah.
God works in big ways. He works in small ways. He's constantly doing something. And we just have to trust to be obedient in the small things. Because if we're obedient in the small things, God can trust us and build us up to be able to do bigger things.
Yeah, I think that's something like pretty big to remember is just like not to miss it when you're looking. It's good to have goals and it's good to work towards something. And obviously asking God for the things that like your heart desires and everything. But not to miss the moments when you're in that waiting period.
Yeah.
And maybe not to miss the lessons that are there and just to like be thankful for what you have in the moment.
Yeah.
You can still have those like dreams and like aspirations, everything like that. But it's like, remember where you're at and what God's doing in your life right now.
Right.
And trying to just look.
And there's some interesting stuff when you look at it. The story of Samuel. I mean, we're reading the book 1 Samuel. If you read all the way back to his mother who wanted to have a kid and was barren for years.
Yep.
And like got to the point where she said, like, God, if you give me a child, I'll give him back to you.
Yep.
And winds up being pregnant with Samuel, right? All of that is a season to prepare her to be able to let go so that Samuel could go do great things for God. You know, if she'd have given if God had given Samuel to her earlier on, maybe she would have had a hard time letting go. Maybe she would have raised him differently instead of the mentality of a kid that I'm sending out for God's will. You know, like all of those kinds of things. And so she to me is a great example of God's timing and waiting on that. Because sometimes we're not ready. Sometimes somebody else isn't ready. The timing's just not right. And so we're just trusting that God sees all, knows all, and he's working things out the right way.
Well, and Samuel anoints David. And it's not right away. Like
later in life. He's there for most of Saul. He dies pretty early on in the David-Saul narrative. Yeah.
Right. And then like even David having to wait in that moment too of like, okay, so you anointed me.
Oh, there's so much waiting season for David.
Right. And so I think that's almost another important thing to point out because when you read the story, it goes so fast and like, because it's just like the story, here it is. When it's like, no, there was like so much time. Like,
so much time.
Imagine having to wait, you know, that these certain amount of time frames. Like that's hard.
Yeah.
Another really cool thing that you said that I liked, just was thinking about is like that this fight shouldn't have even like been a thing because this was Saul's time to shine and he dropped the ball
big time.
I have never thought about that before.
Yeah.
I've never thought about that because, right, I'm just used to David and Goliath. This is what happens.
Yep.
Move on. But the fact that, like, Saul, here's your time. Like, this is what you were supposed to be in this. And God said, okay, if you're not going to do it, somebody else will do it.
Yeah, I'll see if I can look the verse up real quick.
And also I like, too, that you said, like, that David was putting his trust in the Lord and he didn't see himself as the hero.
Right.
And I think that's, I mean, God was even telling them, you guys don't want a king. It's not going to work out. And then I think that, like, all this pressure and everything really got to Saul, can't deliver. And then God's like, I will send somebody to take care of it then. He's not just going to sit back and,
Yeah, so God is talking about, he's asking the people, like, who do you want for king? And they said, now the day before Saul came, the Lord had revealed this to Samuel. About this time I will send you a man from the land of Benjamin, anoint him ruler over my people of Israel. He will deliver them from the hand of the Philistines. And I have looked on my people, for their cry has reached me. And when Samuel caught sight of Saul, the Lord said to him, this is the man I spoke to you about. He will govern my people. So literally in the moment that God is saying, like, okay, you want a king, we're going to give you a king. And his job is to deliver you from the Philistines. Like, they're shouted out, 1 Samuel 9:16. Like, this is Saul's job. Now, ultimately, Saul's job is accomplished through David. Mm-hmm. So it's, it is fulfilled and it is done, but it is Saul dropping the ball big time. The whole reason that you were there is to do that. It's like saying to somebody, hey, we need a new CEO of our company because we recognize that financially we're not where we need to be. So we need to have the money guru CEO here for a few years. He needs to be the guy who's going to, like, really help us get out of the red, get into the black, and do all those stuff. And then when it's his time to shine and it's budget season, he's like, maybe we should outsource this. Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, we brought you here for this. Like, this is kind of your thing, man.
Yeah, we were hoping you would do this, actually.
Yeah. Did you kind of think we were just wanting you to, like, rule and take money and taxes? That's kind of
enjoy the high
nice
life.
Robes. That's what you thought this was about? No, man, you got a calling on there.
Oh, yeah.
And this leads to even more of the reason why you can see David needed to be king.
Mm-hmm. And with David not seeing himself, like, as the hero, like that whole thought or, like, point that you made, I thought it was interesting too, because I feel like, because you were like, the battle's not the point. Or like you said, like, that's not the point. This is showing off what God can do and how.
Yeah, it's not David versus Goliath.
Right.
The battle is God's.
And I actually thought too, like, if you're gonna go see, like, an action movie, it's gonna be filled with, like, action.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be a long, drawn out fight scene that they do.
Not
this
at
is
all.
not a long, drawn out fight scene.
It's like two verses. It's two verses in comparison to all of the dialogue. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, the authors, when they wrote this to tell the story of how God worked through David to defeat Goliath and the Philistines, they said the important information is all backstory. It's not battle. Mm-hmm. And that seems crazy, right? Because most of the time things that are recorded, it's about the battle. It's the art of war. It's the strategy. It's all the things that came there.
When we reference it now, it's all about the battle.
Yeah.
Like when people just reference it in real world stuff. Mm-hmm. It's all about the battle.
Yeah, because little David beat big Goliath kind of thing. And it's like, nope, you got to understand Saul's failure, Goliath's brashness, if you will, and David's trust and faith. Like, you have to understand that to understand why this battle turned out the way that it did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Man, I just thought that was cool too. Another thing too, you said Goliath didn't see, like, he saw David, but didn't see all, like, his training and him killing the animals, and he just saw it and thought nothing of him, like, and thought like he was a stick or something. What did he say? Yeah. And to me, I just thought, actually,
at me with a stick. Yeah.
Right. Like, actually, that's a good lesson too, to be like, don't judge a book by its cover. One,
for sure.
That's the cheesy way of saying it, but, like, also recognizing the value that each person has, and just, like, not looking at the outside figure of a person, but really what's inside.
Yeah, what you don't know about people can be just as important as what you do know.
Yeah.
There was so much information Goliath didn't have that if he did, I would have thought he would have had at least maybe a little better head covering.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, there would have been something there.
Come on, you got all this heavy armor on. You're telling me you don't
all
got
this stuff, right? And so obviously he didn't know David had great aim. Mm-hmm. Like, that would have been a thing.
Yeah.
Kept your distance, throwing javelin. Like, it would change his whole strategy, right?
Yeah.
But he didn't take any time to prepare for the battle. He just brashed himself in there because he was the man, the myth and the legend kind of thing.
Yeah.
And sure enough, David has got all this backstory that Goliath's not aware of. And it's what came to be because he had all this preparation that God was doing behind the scenes. And so I think you're right. When we interact with people, we have to recognize they are more than what we know about them. Mm-hmm. They are the sum of their history, all the things that they've gone through that have helped shape them and mold them and understand that. And so I think that's an important thing for us, but we also have to recognize it for ourselves too.
Yeah.
You know, like even our highs and lows have helped shape us, our hardships that we've come through. And the reminder that God sent a bear and a lion to prepare David for Goliath.
Yeah. And you think in that moment, David was like, this is because I'm going to fight a giant human man one day.
Right.
No.
Right. And if it were me, I'd probably be like, it's just a sheep. I don't know how much I really want to fight that bear.
Yeah, I'm going to let that
But it's my job. As a shepherd, it's my job. I got to go after the one. I got to do this. It's my job to protect.
I was going to say, talk about doing things for the glory of God, even in the small things. Like, no, this is my job is to protect. I'm going to do it, and you're going to do it the right way. Because same thing when he went to go deliver the food.
Yeah.
It's like, somebody's going to talk about my God like that? Mm-mm. That was
something
verbatim.
Else. Yeah. Yeah.
That was
for Hebrew Eater Eats. Hebrew Uber Eats. Yeah.
That was funny too. Yeah. Well, you got anything else you wanted to add?
No, I think it's, be fun. We're going to get into...
this is 8 weeks total?
8 weeks total.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll get into Jonathan next, which is a unique friendship. There's a lot of cultural stuff that's just really hard to interpret in our own culture because we don't have relationships like that.
Yep.
That are intimate, but are not, I'll just put out there, not sexualized.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that is always a question with David and Jonathan.
Yep.
They didn't have an intimately sexualized relationship. They had an intimate relationship. And those kind of people. And you see the theme throughout Scripture, the importance of love and care, genuine care for somebody else. And so I'm excited to dive into that a little bit more on that friendship and kind of the dynamics that play out there a little bit and needing people in your life and all that. So
nice.
That should be good. And then we've got some other fun ones coming. I mean, things that, you could probably name off, right? Some of the David stories that we're going to do.
Yeah. Are we going to watch the VeggieTales version of the, king with the rubber ducky?
The rubber ducky, yeah. Taking the rubber ducky with Bathsheba. No, we'll get into that one. Yeah, no, I've got murder and adultery. I'll cover those ones for sure.
Nice.
That's a 2-for-1, right?
Hey, you heard it here first. Wow, we're getting a little sneak peek into the rest of the series.
Yeah.
You got to watch it.
Yeah, and I'm fine talking about it like it's there. Read your Bible.
Well,
we're going to talk about it.
I mean, you should know.
You know what's coming. Yeah, we're not hiding it. We're just working through.
But this is good if anybody has pre-questions.
Yeah, and there's some fun ones. I'm excited because we are still going to talk about Saul a little bit more and kind of that dynamic relationship between the two of them and kind of hold them up side by side in a comparison of how God uses them. I think that's going to be a cool one. We've got
because Rick threw stuff at your head sometimes and you feel like you wanted to
I got to get my trauma out. Yeah, I'm not speaking on that one. I'm actually not. But, yeah, and then we have a couple more obscure stories, I think, if you will, things that are there. The Bible puts them in for a purpose. Why is the Bible got that in there kind of stuff for David's people in this story when he's on the run? That's kind of cool. So interesting stuff. Hopefully causes people to dive in. Feel free to read ahead.
Yeah, right.
It's all good.
Always.
We love that. That'd be great. But yeah, David has been a fun series, a fun summer series, I think. So
I'm excited. Well, thank you everybody for watching. Like, share, subscribe, everything like that, and then we'll get to see you on Sunday.